Hi there, Simon from simonwoods.com here, and this is Bordeaux Part 2. Well, if you didn't see yesterday's instalment, then it's Bordeaux Part 1 for you. But anyway, I had 8 Bordeaux to taste, and I split them into 2 categories. First lot were cheaper, mostly Merlot based. The other 3, which I'm on today, are generally from appellations where Cabernet Sauvignon is the dominant grape variety. I'm not sure of the blends of these 3, so it may be that some of them are more Merlot, but Cabernet Sauvignon will certainly have more of an influence in the wines here. And I finished the previous video saying that based on these 5 wines, these 8 to 12 pound, which translates I suppose to $10 to $20, something like that, based on those wines, I didn't think that if I put them in front of a set of my friends, many of them would be inspired to want to try the next level up. But this is the next level up. A few dollars more, a few pounds more. First one I've got, Chateau Proyac, Medoc, 2004. And 2004 was an okay vintage in Bordeaux. Bordeaux's had been pretty good in vintage terms recently. Actually, most parts of Europe have been pretty good in vintage terms recently. It's hard to find many places that have had a series of washout vintages. You go and ask them in Bordeaux, when was your last below average vintage? And they go, ooh, maybe 1987, 1991, 1984. And they're not statistical pedants. They shouldn't. The average is there, and there should be some below and some above. I think what they mean is, based on historical experience, since the mid 80s, nature has been kind to them, and they've had some terrific vintages. And in the last decade, they've had 2000, 2005, 2009, all of which are among the top vintages in the last 100 years. And they'll probably have some more top vintages in the last 100 years in the next 3 years, but let's not get into that. Anyway, 2004, Proyac, Medoc. Well, I stick my nose in and there's 2 things I smell. I smell ripeness and I smell smokiness. Actually 3 things. There's almost like a briny, almost like slightly fishy, smoky edge. It smells like the fruit was really ripe. And that slightly briny edge, well, I don't know whether it's, they're not all that far from the sea here, so, and I do find quite a few Bordeaux have a briny element, but that smoky edge is that excess wood. So I'll be interested to taste this and see whether there's the impact of wood is a bit too great. Because this Proyac is owned by the Yvon Moe company, and I have to confess that I find that sometimes their oak treatment in their wines, they go over the top. So, hey, let's see. Well, it starts off really nicely. There's that, that briny, ripe fruit edge, ripe black currants, going into the berries, going into the plums. But then this structure comes through, and it's dry tannins. And I think that they're the sort of tannins that are, I'm not a winemaker, but for me it feels like the tannins there are almost too much for the wine. They are there, they don't add to the pleasure of the wine. Yes, they provide a framework, but I don't think that the flesh in the middle is enough for the framework. I end up tasting the scaffolding rather than the building underneath. I'm going to leave this bottle open for a couple of days, because every time I come across a wine that I'm not so sure about and I don't like, I like to give it the benefit of the doubt, because otherwise it's not fair to the wine. And I do the same to good wines as well, because sometimes something can be very flattering straight out the traps and then fall apart. But that for me feels like a wine that will always be on this dry, earthy, unpleasurable side. Made by a control freak, it feels. It feels like someone who's just wanted to be too much in control rather than be laissez-faire about it. Next one, same vintage, 2004, oh, Medoc. so better bits of the Medoc. Well, this smells, it's strange, it smells more relaxed, it smells more mature, it smells like it's going to be still quite tough, and I think 2004 wasn't the ripest and sweetest of vintages. Not a bad vintage, but with this slightly smoky edge, but it's a different sort of smokiness. The smokiness on the first one had this almost smoky bacon edge of oak. This one feels more like a smoky, earthy, terroir derived smell rather than winemaking derived smell. It's weird, it's not as intense, it's not as concentrated, it's not trying as hard, and it's all the better for it. I've had some wines from La Marque in the past, and I have found them on the quite tough edge, but certainly following the Pauillac, this feels not gentle, but it does feel, yeah, it feels more gentle. It feels like a less ambitious wine, but a far more pleasurable wine. Yeah, I like that. Final wine, Chateau Brown, and we're in Grave here, and in particular in the Pessac-Léognan bit of Grave, which is the best bit, and 2 vintages younger, 2006 vintage. I did a video a couple of weeks ago with the white from here, and that was I thought that was fabulous. The funny thing is, this Chateau Brown belongs to Yvon Meaux, and what I found with the oak in the white was that yes, it was there, but as I watched it evolve, it did work. I'd be interested to see here, because the first thing I do is I stick my nose in and I smell classy fruit and classy oak. And it may be that because this is a better terroir than where Pauillac is, that it's far more able to stand up to that type of oak treatment. But yes, here it feels balanced. There's a smokiness, but there's this plummy blackcurrant and cedar intensity that is very alluring, and it feels tight and it feels svelte. It feels, yeah, I'm looking forward to tasting this. And it's a different sort of smokiness. I don't know whether they're using similar barrels here or what, but the smokiness there on the Pauillac had a slightly fishy type of intensity. Here it's much more of a wood smoke type of character without the herring. Wine without herring. And it's a totally different kettle of fish. This has got a voluptuous, pleasurable edge to it, which was missing in the Pauillac. I love that juiciness. I love that it's this soft, plummy edge. And again, does it say on the back what it's made from? 60 Cabernet, 35 Merlot, 5% Petit Verdot. And yes, there's quite a bit of Merlot, but mostly Cabernet Sauvignon carrying that wine. But Cabernet Sauvignon can be like a bit head boyish, schoolmasterish. But here there is a voluptuous, sexy, svelte character coming through from somewhere, and the oak is beautifully balanced here. It's a really lovely wine, and yes, it's about 10 quid more than the Pauillac, but it really does merit that extra £10. And as I watch the Pauillac over the next couple of days, I think I might watch this Chateau Brown. The only problem might be that by day 3 or 4 there won't be too much left of the Chateau Brown. See you soon.